Alex Van Halen continues to promote his upcoming memoir, Brothers. His dislike for Sammy Hagar becomes increasingly clear. In a recent interview with Billboard, Alex implied that Van Halen lost their magic after David Lee Roth left the band in 1985. In a recent interview with Modern Drummer, Alex Van Halen reflected on the unusual chemistry David Lee Roth brought to Van Halen. Part of it was the clash between Dave and the rest of the band, Alex explained. What made it work was that we came from totally different backgrounds. Dave had this vaudeville flair, while Ed and I were influenced by bands like Cream, Led Zeppelin, and Black Sabbath. He continued, "That unusual chemistry is actually what made it successful. But we definitely needed a mediator, or we wouldn't have accomplished anything." The interview, Alex Van Halen also explored the differences between David Lee Roth and his successor, Sammy Hagar. Alex remarked that Hagar has a strong sense of rhythm and an incredible voice, whereas Dave was more of a poet. Dave is creative. 90% of it might be nonsense, but that 10% is worth it, Alex added. In an earlier interview with Rolling Stone, Alex blamed Roth's refusal to honor Eddie Van Halen for the cancellation of a planned reunion tour to pay tribute to the late guitarist. Despite this, he speaks highly of the band's early years with Roth. "What happened after Dave left was not the same band," Alex told Billboard. "I'm not saying it was better or worse. The truth is, Ed and I always did our best work when we played." He added, "We always gave it our all, but the magic was in those early years when we didn't know what we were doing and were open to trying anything." Although recent spinal issues have limited his ability to drum, Alex made it clear that he had no interest in participating in Hagar's Best of All Worlds Van Halen-centric tour, even if he were able to play. "I'm not interested," he said of the tour, which featured Joe Satriani on guitar, Michael Anthony on bass, and Jason Bonham on drums. "They're not doing justice to the band. They can do whatever they want. That's not my concern." In another part of the interview, Alex discussed why he chose to focus on his relationship with his brother Eddie in his book, rather than on conflicts with his bandmates. "It's not about airing dirty laundry," Alex explained. "If I start throwing mud, it will never stop. Some people might enjoy that, because that's how things sell nowadays, but I believe it just divides the audience, and we're not here to do that." Interestingly, Hagar isn't even mentioned in the book, which skips from David Lee Roth's early time with the band to Eddie's final years before his death in 2020. Alex emphasized that the three main components of the band were himself, Eddie, and Roth. He also expressed deep respect for Roth's work ethic, saying, "I have the utmost respect for Dave, but some of his decisions just seemed really odd to me. Still, it's not my place to question them." Alex Van Halen has shared a new excerpt from the audiobook edition of his upcoming memoir, Brothers. Alex says, in part, "I saw you take your last breath.